Okay, so we already know from the thumbnail that we are going to be using the Vegeta Xeno Trunk Xeno leader, also known as Vegeks. That's the leader that I didn't really rock with for a long time because a lot of people had their Vegeks builds, and I'm not going to just put out the same exact build someone else is doing if I could help it. And at the time, Vegeks was the best deck in the game. It was actually quite dominant, so a lot of people are really not trying to see it anymore. But now, after went through 3 waves of nerfs, Vegeks is now suddenly a rogue strategy in this current format, and I'm just going to show you my take on it. So here we go. Vegeks Gohanks. Not exactly the most original deck, but I have been enjoying it quite a bit, so I wanted to share with you guys. The whole list is laid out right here, so if you want to just look at it, copy it, and do whatever you want to do with it, fine. I'm just going to take you on a little journey of my thought process. So just in case you are brand new to the game, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what this guy does. So on the front side, he has burst 5, which means he mills 5, and then he draws a card. If you have 20 or more cards in your drop, or you have 4 or less life, you get to untap 1 and draw 1 to flip over to this side for Awakening. On this side, he draws first, then he mills 5 and gives you Unison double strike. Then he has a permanent that's sparking 20 that says that if he will run out of cards in deck, he shuffles his deck back in, shuffles his drop back into his deck. So that allows you to use his abilities without any kind of issues. He's a starter deck leader, so they have starter specific cards that go with him. In this case, it's these 3 right here. They're all free if they get sent from the deck to the drop area and your leader card is black. In the case of the Kai, she's a 4K. She also combos for 10 if you have 5 or less cards in hand. The Trunks and the Vegeta are unique. He's a blocker. He's a beater. They have other skills, but you know that's the main ones you need to worry about. PyCon Unison. So this is the big departure from before. Usually you would play the Gogeta Unison that goes with this deck. That comes into play for free if you have no Unisons in play. And then he would do some pretty cool stuff. But this guy right here works with this archetype a little bit better. So, +1, he gives 2 1-drops plus 10k into the end of your opponent's turn, which is pretty important because you want to make sure that you can protect your weenies when you swing with them. He can't attack unless he has 3 or more markers. That matters sometimes, but usually we're not really keeping him out there long enough to do that. And then the -3, which I think will come up at some point in time, so I might make changes to the deck, allows you to put a Gogeta Xeno. Actually, it's a black battle card with Union Fusion and the cost of 6. And there's only really one that's Gogeta Xeno from your drop area warp into play. That is important because there's one that's really good that's a blocker and warps 4 or less, ignoring barrier. That card is pretty nuts. But the other reason is that you want to have a way to make sure you get him off the table after you use his effect to abuse the next set of cards, which are the Gohanks package. So we have 4 Master Student Union, 3 copies of Marvelous Might, and 3 copies of Apocalyptic Future. So this guy right here, actually all 3 of them, they are made by sending the Trunks and the Gohanks Xeno from the drop area to the warp. They have no care about their power or their size or anything like that. He costs 1 to do it, he costs 2, and he's free. When he comes into play, if there's no Unison in play, you can play this guy from your drop. When he comes into play, if you have, well, he doesn't have a come into play, but if you have the Unison out, you could send him to the drop to play 1 Gohan and 1 Trunks Xeno from your deck or drop area, which we have quite a few targets for. And this guy right here, like I say, he's free 15k. But if he's in the drop area, you can pay 1, send him to the bottom of your deck to put this back into play. So early game, you kind of want to just play this guy to get him out from the drop, or just naturally draw him and play him. and start stacking them up. And then once you get to the point where you can start clearing them, you could start putting multiple instances of the 10Ks on your one drop. These guys are actually, all three of these are your primary targets. These guys become 15K if you have 15 or more cards in your drop area. She's 15K as long as you have the unison in the battle area or the unison area. Critical, double strike, double strike. So they're all sound beaters. He will make 2 of them at least 25s. If you're able to loop him, then he could give another set of 2 plus 10, or he could stack another plus 10 on top of the ones that you already gave 10 to, making them 35s. These 2 right here are meant to clear him. So he sends this to the drop while he's in the drop area. Like, you send him to the warp, put this in the drop, draw a card. He sends this to the drop while in the drop area, puts himself to the warp, and warps one of the opponent's battle cards 4 or less. So removal, card draw, both good. Both of them have an effect that when they're sent from the drop to the warp by means of a skill, you put them on the bottom of your deck. This guy right here is mainly here because he's a Gohanks Xeno, and there's not really that many of them. But he's a solid card. You play him, you draw a card, and then if they're playing any kind of counters that untap energy, they have to kind of be afraid because he will hit an energy and hit one of their life just for doing that. Sometimes you put him out there because all these cards kind of look the same. They might forget what he does, use it, and then you get to catch him slipping. Super combos, Trunks and the Gohan. Again, mainly for names, but also I'm a big fan of 0-10K super combos. I understand Vegeta's where it's at. He gets you turboing through the deck. But against certain matchups, you want to always have your super combo live. He's literally live turn 1, and he's always 0-10K, and then when you got lower life, you could start drawing cards off him. We already talked about Haru Haru. This Goku right here punishes counterattacks, or actually counters in general. So if they activate it, they warp a card from their hand. So when you're going against the dormant matchups, if you could stack a couple of these up before you start swinging, your opponent's going to have a rough time of it because, yeah, they'll get the dormant and kill off some stuff, but they're also going to lose like 2 to 3 cards out of hand on top of the dormant, which is not worth it. Well, a lot of times it's not worth it. It might be worth it to them, but you know what I mean. This guy right here is in the gate. It's basically here because I run Power Burst. So I want to have some ability to have additional value off Power Burst. Gohan. Wish he was a Gohan Xeno, but he's a Gohan Future. Comes into play when one of your battle cards leave, when your black battle cards leave the skip field due to a skill. So, this guy sending himself to the drop to play the 2 1-drops, I mean. That's an example of one. People removing your battle cards due to their own skills. He just comes into play. He's a 15K blocker / beater. Majin Buu for card draw. 2 might be too low. I might bump it up to 4 and get rid of something else. But because we have draw for this that costs 0 energy and goes with our theme, it kind of makes up for it. And as mentioned, Power Burst, negate, Sparking 5 also helps you get back beaters. Helps you get back Floodgate as well as a negate. So that's basically it for this deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Just coming back over here for you guys real quick. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who do watch me stream. You will see that deck in action on Thursday during the Bad Beat CCG circuit. Again, link down below for those of y'all that want to join it. That's it. Enjoy the rest of y'all week, and this is VG Time signing out.